Bike and Run and Plan Advisory Committee to order, and I ask staff to call the roll.
Adam Hopkins.
Here.
Barry Kroll.
Here.
Dan Palmer.
Here.
John Getz.
Here.
Jay Doherty.
First order of business is the approval of the January 18th, 2024 minute meeting.
So moved. Second.
Staff call the roll.
We do have a correction that we'll make for attendance. Kim Dasbeck, not Kelly O'Brien, so we'll make that correction.
Okay. All in favor of the minutes?
Aye.
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 Public comment. Would anyone else like to address the board at this time? Please stand up. Keep your comments to 3 minutes.
Here we go. All right, Stephanie Gansey, 416 Tennyson Road. Just a few things. I posted about this meeting on Facebook the other day and had a few people comment on it, and I thought their comments were worth bringing up to the commission. They were talking about safe crossings, Devon and Bartlett. So now that Aldi's there at ice cream, we have people going to the park, and even though there's a crosswalk sign there, no one really stops there. They keep going the 35 plus miles an hour. Also, someone mentioned Bartlett Road by the stables, crossing over there to get to the pool or the life center, and I'm not sure what different ideas there might be to help with that, but take a look at that, please. Also, someone had mentioned applying for awards, and I know we had an honorable mention for the bicycle-friendly community, so I was hoping to see some more promotion from the committee or from the village about that award, and then also just question how we're taking a look at some of the input that award provided us and how we can make moves towards increasing our the level of the award that we can receive next time. And then for the wayfinding, I was just kind of questioning if there's any apps that are available that we can get our information on. I liked all the points that were on there. Maybe something else with bike-friendly stops. And I noticed that there was the one path on there, but I'm not sure if it mentioned any wayfinding towards the Prairie Path or from the Prairie Path towards Bartlett. So thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Would it be possible to put up like those little flashing lights for pedestrians at those?
I mean,
Like at the high school, like right in front of the Bartlett High School, they put a new one this summer, right, Terry?
Yeah.
That new flashing light on, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That would be really nice to have on your road, new trails into the forest preserve because those cars, all of a sudden they look, you don't see them, the next second.
would you like to address the board?
Yeah, is this?
You state your name and address for the record.
My name's Joel Callahan. My address is 116 Northwestern Avenue, Bartlett, Illinois. And the flashing lights, the crosswalks, the one closest to my house I kind of think of as getting across. This isn't where trail is, or at least isn't where trail is yet, but Western Avenue, kind of next to the tracks. There's a crosswalk sign there. In the past, they put a little flippy crosswalk thing in the road. It's cultural. In Illinois, people don't stop for pedestrians. In Wisconsin, they stop for pedestrians. In Florida, they stop for pedestrians. But in Illinois, they don't. The only real way to do it is to put those flashing lights like they have in other communities where the pedestrian can just hit a button and then pretty quickly it's flashing, blinking lights that kind of outline the crosswalk symbol. And even then, I think maybe half would stop. But if somebody would stop and block traffic, that would help. But yeah, they're going really fast. They're not going to stop. And we're not going to put a traffic light there. So something like that would help. In past, when they used those little floppy signs, you know what I'm talking about? The cars would just hit them. Those signs would get boxed all around the road every day when the train got let out. As far as the trails go, are we talking about like expanding or just like feedback? I run and bike the trails quite a bit, and I'm up here on the north side, and I run down to the south side to Deep Quarry Lake and even to the path through Struckman, Hawk Hollow, and all that stuff. I think it'd be nice if through downtown, right here, instead of it being those designer sidewalks with brick pavers in them, if at least on one side it'd be replaced with a path that would connect all the main paths right through the center of town. I kind of see the center of town developing as it is right now, and if they kind of integrated like larger walkways, if a kid was riding their bike from old parts of town to downtown, there's lots of path segments, but then they get into those designer cobbled sidewalks and it becomes a much rougher ride. So like, it's like we're doing two different things. Bike paths up here, bike paths down there, and visual elements in the middle, you know? So if that was all just bike path or good-looking bike path, it might make a lot of difference. There's three major paths that kind of brush near or by Bartlett. From my understanding, there are things connecting all of them, but once those are connected, the Prairie Path, the Great Western, and the Fox River, you could take a bike from Bartlett to Wisconsin, to Oswego, to Rockford, to DeKalb. It's pretty amazing, but like, it's just little segments right here that are still missing. That's it.
Thank you for being here.
Didn't they, doesn't the village board have some plans for the downtown sidewalks?
We are going through the streetscape program and changing some of the sidewalks, and part of that is removing the cobblestone bricks in the center and moving them more towards the outside, so they're on the edges, so that you have flat sidewalk, kind of like what we have at Moore.
Yeah, I mean, I was even saying, like, and a lot of towns have done this now, where it's not designer as far as like a visual element and beautifying downtown, but it matches like the rest of the trails, and I think people generally like it when it's wide enough for a bike and a dog and everything else, and little brick elements kind of look okay, but the usability expands if you just have 8 feet wide a trail right there.
Could we talk about the flashing lights at all, or what?
We can. I think we can talk about that probably under old business, new business, or somewhere else. We'll let the public talk first.
Yep, fair enough.
Anyone else would like to address the board? He's getting comfortable.
Since I'm here. Yeah, Terry Witt, 471 Southwestern Avenue, and Director of Advocacy over at Spin Doctor Cycle Works. So last year was Bartlett's best year in the 20 years we've lived here, at least in my opinion. You've really done a great job. And I think the League of American Bicyclists recognized that, you know? And so I'm hoping, even though we didn't get a big turnout, and thank you for having an evening meeting, but there's a lot of things that were in the league's message to us, things we can do to keep improving our bicycle-friendly status. So hopefully we'll continue to do that. I know that the village board has, as a long-term complex issue, bike trails and things, but it's not all just on the village board, this committee, this staff to do it. It's up to us residents to let you know what we like. You know, coming to these meetings is a big deal, you know? Really is. Thank you for coming. Thank you. And comments are right on the money. And so everybody needs to hear those things. But there's other things we can do. We can choose to drive less and bike more. Hey, if you got little kids, take them to a park on a bike ride. We got the greatest parks in anywhere around. Right, Kim? Yeah, so take those kids. They love to swing. And when you're done, take them to an ice cream cone. Get that reward. If they're older, ride with your kids to soccer practice. Just don't make the car always the choice. A cultural thing? Yeah. So let's make biking one of those choices that is very easy to do in Bartlett to increase our bicycle friendliness. We also have to talk to our elected people. Our elected people need us, we need them. We need to vote. If we're tired of watching kids run across Illinois 25 for their life, call Maura Hirschbauer. I think she's our state representative. At any rate, say, come on, Maura, let's get IDOT to put a crosswalk in so the kids don't have to run for their life. You think running across Devon is a challenge? Try running across 25 or Lake Street at Naperville Road. You know, there's no crosswalks there. Come on. So we got to talk to our elected people. And if you're ever watched kids ride down along Stearns Road, they're going all over. They have a lot of friends that live over in Westridge, because they go to school in South Elgin, so that's where the friends are. But when they're riding down on the shoulder of Stearns Road, they're just all over the place. So talk to John Looper, I think it is, I forget. But anyway, DuPage County, who's in charge of that, talk to him and say, come on, let's get that side path on Stearns Road going. Enough. And if you got kids who like to go to the library and the swimming pool and they've got to cross South Bartlett at the Stearns, that's a DuPage County jurisdiction. Talk to Greg Schwarzy. He's one of our commissioners. He made a nice pedestrian bicycle safety crossing across County Farm Road on the Great Western Trail. He can do the same for us at the stables if we ask him. They're both mid-block crossings, the one on County Farm and the one here. They're those are tough ones for kids. So at any rate, thank you for my 3 minutes, and thanks for coming.
Thank you for being here, Terry.
Yeah.
Would anyone else like to address the board or the committee? Then we will move on. Old business, new business. Does anyone have any new business to bring up in this committee?
I have some ideas. You want to maybe save it till the end, let them go through regular business.
Yeah, we could do that. Anyone else? Then we will move on. The first thing on our agenda is the Bartlett Park District update.
Save myself a few steps. Kim Dasbach from the Bartlett Park District, and we have no update for this meeting.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the Park District? No? The next thing is the bike path maintenance update.
So Public Works could not join us today, but they wanted us to let you know that the Brewster Creek bike paths will be completed this year. So that's the one down Munger Road that will go from Stearns all the way up to West Bartlett Road, and the resurfacing of the one on Brewster Creek Boulevard. Staff's continuing working on the path from Newport and heading west down Stearns. Staff received a grant from Cook County to assist with the cost of construction for the path under Route 59. And Metra is currently designing the crossings with the gates on Naperville Road.
Is that ahead of schedule, you think?
I wish I could say it was.
If I read it correctly, it says 30 to 36 months on engineering.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I'm going to related comment on at the end here.
Now, I don't understand why I would think engineering is pretty straightforward for gates, but I'm not an engineer, I'm a planner.
I have some ideas.
So a comment about the work on Stearns from Devon going west. Is there an opportunity to widen that and make it less? It does a couple of really tight jogs, and it's only about 4 foot wide in sections. Is there an opportunity to make that the standard 8 foot wide with the rest of the network?
I can ask Public Works about that.
Okay,
I don't know how wide the right-of-way is right there.
fair enough, yep. And there's also a couple really tight, I don't know if it was built around trees that have since been taken down, but there's some really tight kinks
Okay.
Just kind of straighten that out, just because I know when people are moving along on bikes, they're not going to use the path if it's not convenient. And then they're going to be on the street, and then that's obviously defeats the purpose, so.
Right. On Devon, that you're talking?
No, it's on Stearns from Devon all the way to like the pool. Yeah,
Are you talking South Bartlett?
no. Oh, yeah, to South Bartlett, yes. It goes from Devon to South Bartlett
Okay.
on Stearns. It goes past the school there.
Oh, okay, so,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But along Stearns, right? That's the next segment you're going to work on?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's very narrow,
Okay.
very kinked. And then any update about Route 25? I know Terry hit on it, the crossing there.
There is not an update at this time. So we reach out to them probably every quarter,
Okay.
get an update.
All right, we'll move on to the bicycle-friendly community update.
So, the Village of Bartlett received an honorable mention. This was the first time they've adjusted their application process. So this is the first time they've scored it with this ranking. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed to see our scoring. So I think we need to do a better job of selling ourselves because I think we should have scored higher than this. They said that they are looking at weighting, changing how they weight certain components, so our grades could change. But I do like the fact that in the report card, they gave us some items that we could improve and focus on, so we can really put our efforts in the right places. Next month is Bike Month. We're going to be putting together a bike safety flyer and then distributing that to the elementary schools and asking that they share that to kind of get information out since kids will be out using the bike paths, kind of a refresher for students, hopefully parents, and advertise some of the bike paths that we have.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
A lot of the feedback from that, how to improve for the next time, and I assume it's an annual, is it an annual, or how often do we have to apply?
I believe it's every 5 years.
Every 5 years, okay.
Apply more often. If we think we've gotten a lot of these check boxes, I have no problem applying quicker because there's no fee to apply.
Yeah. In looking at the feedback, it looked like education was one area that we were sorely lacking in. I don't know, any ideas on how we can improve that? I guess talking to the elementary schools, that's the first step, but things like bike safety classes and things like that, can we talk to U46 about something like that?
We can talk to U46. I'd also like to work with the police department to see if there's something that we can do where they could teach some safety classes, maybe do a little session at some of the, when we do
National Night
block
Out
parties
or
and
National
National
Night
Night Out. Maybe see if there's something that we could incorporate into that.
okay.
Maybe we could organize some bike rodeos and things like that.
Good idea. All right, we'll move on to the wayfinding signage update.
Since the January 18th Bike and Run Committee meeting, staff has developed a collaborative map in which committee members can suggest additional sign locations, as well as like and add comments to these proposed sign locations on the map. 8 additional proposed sign locations have been added to the map since January 18th. The Bikeways Wayfinding Sign Map shows suggested locations for 8 wayfinding signs, as well as 4 map board signs. Also, up by you, I included a chart that goes with the map as well. Additionally, looking forward, a complete bicycle wayfinding signage plan is needed to implement the suggested map board and wayfinding signs that we've been developing. Staff has begun researching examples of existing wayfinding signage plans. I've included some up there, hard copies, as well as the links that have been sent to you.
We just want you to know this is a starting point. If you
Yeah.
look at the wayfinding sign plans, most of them are like 60 to 90 pages. So
Yeah.
we want to make sure we're doing something very in-depth and have a plan going forward. But we kind of like to get some low-hanging fruit so we can kind of figure out a plan and start doing, like working towards intergovernmental agreements to possibly get some of the map board locations figured out, so that when we have we'd like to incorporate some of the branding and things like that, so that we could make that all work together, so we can launch it at things kind of in phases.
Yeah. Are the current locations that you guys picked out, would we need any approval from any other jurisdictions for these?
Depending on where we locate them, it's something on what side of the intersection we put them.
Yeah.
We might need to work with Forest Preserve districts and the park district.
Okay. Any other comments?
What kind of time frame are we looking? Do you think this summer we might have some signs up, or is that still too early?
I don't know if we'll have them this summer, but I would like us to at least have the plan for exactly where we're going so that we can budget for all of the implementation.
And we can make those signs internally, correct?
Correct.
Well, thank you for your efforts with this. That website with the map that was great. Are we going to roll that out to anyone else or
I think
more public?
Now that GIS, they love that I know how to do a lot of this stuff. So I think we are going to start looking at other ways that we can integrate the information that we have on our bike path map and kind of start adding points of interest and distribute maps that way, and maybe get some QR codes so people could scan that when they're on the bike route and see exactly where they're at, where they're going. So I'm planning on having GIS do a lot.
All right.
Any other comments about the wayfinding signs? Do you need any other input from this committee, or?
Do you think we're taking the right direction?
I think you are personally, but.
So we'll keep you updated. I'd like us to have, I'm hoping to have another assistant planner in the next couple of months. And so for the next meeting, I'd like us to be able to have at least a draft of part of the wayfinding sign plan that we'll be bringing back for you.
Excellent.
Not the next meeting, the one after that.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the grant update.
Been very busy applying for grants for the village. So we have the $150,000 for ARPA funds for the bike path connection underneath Route 59. He has also applied for an Invest in Cook grant for that underpass as well. We have already gotten some positive feedback from the county, so we're thinking that that's very likely to be granted to us. And then we, as I stated before, we have a $500,000 funding from Representative Hirschauer for that bike path crossing the railroad on Naperville Road.
He has been busy. Any other comments on grants?
Yeah, I actually have a couple of comments, and one specifically related to the Hirschauer grant. When we first heard about that, we were told approximately 2 years. Now we're looking at 30 to 36 months for engineering. Now, that's understandable. There's lengths of time and design features on that kind of stuff. What I'm looking to get to, if we can, is the construction of the access up to the tracks. I mean, I can cross the tracks and not get hit by a train reasonably easy. What I can't do is get from the tracks to West Bartlett Road or to where the new path's going to be without walking on the road. There's 6 inches between the guardrail and the pavement, and there's another 12 inches of pavement before the line on Naperville Road. Now, can I do it? Yes. Would I want to do it? No, particularly with people texting and stuff. What I would like to see is some kind of movement. The developer's building houses now, so I think he could be maybe persuaded with a little village pressure to construct that path up to the railroad tracks and allow pedestrians to get out of that subdivision on either side of Naperville Road there and into town, particularly with the path now going underneath the railroad tracks. I would like to see some movement on that. I don't know what we can do. It's been my experience that villages have a little more influence than just the average Joe. So I would really like to see some kind of push on that if we could. there's got to be a way. I mean, I see kids on skateboards, I see kids on bikes, I see people walking. Not a lot. We'd get a lot more if they had a safe way to do it. And I'm keen enough where I don't text and I slow down and go around, but I can't say that about many of the motorists, particularly when it's busy early in the morning or late in the day. So if you're coming home, Naperville Road, and you live in that area, you better get there before 3 p.m. When the school buses start and whatnot. That's one comment. And then just a new thing that a resident brought to my attention just the other day. The village abandoned a project to put a road through from back here on Devon all the way to Bartlett Lakes Estates. And I'm wondering if there's any kind of right-of-way still retained anywhere along there or under the electrical wires where you might get a bike path to allow access to hikers and or bicyclists.
Where's that? Where are you looking for that?
At one time, the village proposed putting a roadway through from the area of Holly through Bartlett Lakes Estates, Auburn. And the people that lived there didn't much like it because I guess they felt they'd get too much cut-through traffic. Okay, the village abandoned the idea, but did they abandon the property?
So that property, I happen to be looking at this ordinance today. That property was actually purchased by the Forest Preserve District while the village was pursuing obtaining the property. So the village does not have any rights of way through it. I have reached out to Jessica Ortega at the Forest Preserve, and if the village board passes a resolution requesting that we look at putting in a bike path, they may consider putting in a bike path that would connect, can you have that pulled up? Oh, can you share that? I'm trying to think of what street that would be. Would it be, it would be from Holly south. Can you stop this sharing?
I don't think it needs to be necessarily straight or any, it's an alternate route because, again, there's no way to get down 59 from West Bartlett to Stearns without going all the way around. And if you're on a bike, that's fine, and you have time. If you're walking, it's not so fine, because instead of 3 miles, it's 5 miles. Okay. It does sound like there's a way to get 6 feet or 8 feet or whatever the width of a bike path is through there?
She said that if we get something from the village board, if we got that direction, that they would consider it.
Okay, I'll lobby a few trustees.
Yes.
If it's anything like when I grew up, we created our own trails.
Does anyone have any other new business they would like to discuss?
The flashing lights that came up, I think it's a great idea, right? I mean, the flashing light that went up at Bartlett, or at, over by the Bartlett High School, similar to that. Press a button, flashes for 30 seconds. Munger's a good opportunity. The horse barn here is a good opportunity. Anywhere where there's not a crosswalk. So, you know, there's probably more. What's the, I mean, do we have to find out what that cost? Is it the county's response? Is it the jurisdiction of the, whoever has jurisdiction of the road?
Correct. It would be whoever has the road jurisdiction and then looking to see whether they're, how it's powered, what kind of access that we need. I think we would want to have some sort of criteria so that we're not getting requests for them at every intersection.
Sure.
So it could be, we can have Public Works look at what criteria they want, something as, where you say it's a mid-block crossing.
Exactly.
So people might not be expecting it, would be one criteria point I think we would want.
Okay.
So I can bring that forward to Public Works, and I can have them itemize where we have mid-block crossings. I know the one on Munger isn't really a mid-block technically, but it sort of is, so maybe we could look at things like that as well.
Okay. Because, I mean, I think that one's solar even, right? We don't even need power, we just,
Right.
I think they're all solar.
yeah, exactly.
Are they costly?
That was my next question. What-
I don't know. I can have them give us cost estimates as well.
Because who's got jurisdiction for Munger, right at Forest Preserve Drive? Isn't that Bartlett?
That's Bartlett.
Okay. And then what about jurisdiction right by the horse farm there with the power line trail?
That's the county.
Can we reach out to, who was that county? John, whoever's his name was?
Yeah, we can reach out to the county about that.
Okay.
Because I know we were talking about doing something similar when the Grasslands Trail comes through on West Bartlett Road, having something on there, because that would be a mid-block crossing.
Where's that? West Bartlett?
It will come down just east, I believe it's just east of the Maryville driveway.
Oh, yeah, that's the new trail there that's going to eventually connect underneath.
Correct.
Yeah, that'd be another opportunity for it, yep. All right, thank you.
Anyone else have any new business? The next scheduled meeting is for June 27th, 2024. Does it conflict with anyone's schedule?
Are we back to 3 o'clock for that one?
I believe so. Unless if Ms. Stone really likes staying late. All right, I will make a motion to adjourn the Bike and Run Plan Committee.
Second.
Will staff call the roll? Or we can just-
Adam Hopkins,
Yes.
Barry Kroll,
Yes.
Dan Palmer,
Yes.
Don Getz,
Yes.
Jay Doherty.
That motion carries. We are adjourned.